So we are going to start with a foam roller. And if you don't have a foam roller and you're doing this on the recording, you could roll up your blanket. Like you might need a couple to be firm, but long like a roll, kind of like we did last week, except we're going to use it in a different orientation. So it could be this blanket roll. You would want something pretty firm. You might even take two blankets to roll them around each other. Otherwise, it really flattens out. And then what we'll do, you'll see I've got it parallel to the long edge of my mat, and I'm going to sit on it. So it's got to be a long enough foam roller where you can have your whole spine on it and your head and your head. Okay, so if it's one of those little short foam rollers, that won't work for this. Oh, yeah. So some people, if you've got, neck issues, you might need like a small towel rolled up beneath your neck or some head and neck support. Okay, so just check in, get yourself settled. And so what I've got is it's lined up along the center of my body. My shoulder blades are on either side of it at the top here. And my arms are just coming down to the floor. I've got my knees bent. And there'll be some shifting and rolling if you're on an actual foam roller, just to get yourself steady. I really like using the foam roller in this way. And like I said, if you don't have one, you can use a blanket. I do this same thing in a regular yoga class with no foam rollers, and we just use a blanket. Okay. You could even, what I've done here is like our constructive rest pose. I've widened my feet and let my inner knees lean against one another to relax my inner thighs. I'm just going to take a few more breaths, settling in. So big inhales, wide inhales through your nose. Long exhale, you can blow out through your mouth like you're blowing out through a straw. And repeat. So you're bringing down my nervous system. At least I am. I'm bringing down my nervous system. It's the holidays, and I've been extremely busy, a lot to do, a lot on my mind. And I can just feel this activity in my own brain. And then I can also feel my body beginning to calm. I'm just tuning in. So you might feel quite different than I feel, right? So tuning in, I'm just giving that as an example of how I'm feeling, noticing how you're feeling right now in your nervous system, in your body, your mind, your breath. Okay. I'm going to stay with those wide inhales and long exhales, and I'm going to begin to open up the shoulders and upper back a bit. So I'm just making like a snow angel, and you might have to bend your elbows. You might have to float the arms off the floor, or they might touch the floor as you come up and down along your sides like big angel wings. Feel free to make this your own. So you can move however you want to move with your arms. You might take them this way too, where now I'm taking them straight up to the ceiling where I can see my hands, and then I'm going to take them over my head toward the floor above me, right? So you can move them however you want. I'm exploring. Softening through your jaw. Okay, and then finding a spot for your arms again that feels most comfortable. You might even put palms down or fingers down. I'm now going to take my legs parallel like I would be for a bridge pose. My knees are still bent, feet flat on the floor. And my hands, the palms are down, my fingertips are pressing down for stability. What I'm going to do is just start to press my low back down toward the roll. So I take away that natural curve in my low back, and then I come out of it. So a pelvic rock, like we usually do on the floor. Noticing how that feels. Now, if you have anything big, if you've shoved a pillow below your head, you might want to move it out of the way. Because we're gonna even try to bridge up here. So what I'm going to do is press my low back down, press into my feet, start to tilt my tail toward my knees as I peel up off the roller, feeling the balls of the big toes pressing down, and then I'm just going to roll down. So you don't have to go very high. You can experiment with how high you want to go. Getting the feedback from the foam roller here. Let's just do a couple more of those. Okay, and then ground down and just find neutral again. So you've got the natural curve in your low back. Just look at your arms for stability. I'm going to inhale. And then as I exhale, I'm going to tighten through my abdominal muscles. You can feel with your fingertips. Is it tightening up in this lower abdomen area? And then inhale, relax. And then again, exhale, tighten. And when I tighten, I'm still keeping my neutral spine. Now, the next time I exhale, as I tighten and engage my abdominals, I'm going to see if I can lift my right knee so my right foot comes off the floor and my right knee stacks over right hip. And I'm going to inhale back down, placing it down slowly. So I'm going to go very slowly because the object of this is to feel the tightening of the abdominals as you lift. Soften through your jaw. And I'm keeping those abdominals tight even as I inhale and lower the leg because I'm finding I need that stability being on this rolling object. So let's do a couple more. Okay. Now, soften. And we're just going to come off of the roller. We're going to use it a few different ways because there's a lot of different ways I like to use this thing since we've got it. So I'm rolling to my side. Okay. Coming off and then just using my arms to press up. And now I'm going to roll out the thoracic spine. It's one of my favorite things to do with a foam roller. And so the thoracic spine, is this area, right, where your rib cage is. Okay, up to here. So I'll have my knees bent. And again, you could do this with your block, just like we do when we do the chest opener. So if you're a person that's been using a blanket, you could use a block. Instead, it won't roll, of course, but you'll still open up over it. So I'm going to put my hands behind my head for support so I can relax my neck. And then I lift my hips and just start rolling this thing just in this upper back area. And there's lots of things you can do with this here. For example, you can leave those hips floating like I've been showing, just going up and down. You can drop the hips at any point to the floor and pause and let yourself lean back. And this is what we usually do on the block, right? We lean back, opening the elbows a little bit, and then exhale, come up. And then I might roll to a different spot and do the same thing. So let yourself explore this whole area in your own body. Whew. After doing some wrapping and cooking all day yesterday, I got till 11 p.m., which was way too late. I should have already been in bed. But I was so tight up here that I spent about a good half hour doing several of the movements and some yoga that I'll do with you today. That felt really good. So another thing you can do with the rolling is in this area is I'm going to keep my hips kind of floating, and I'm just leaning and twisting a little bit side to side, getting some other areas. Lifting up, lowering down. So I lift up, shift my hips to one side, lower the hips down. Finding all those tight little knots I've got going on in my own upper back between my shoulder blades, and keep breathing, letting your neck be at ease. Of course, if you don't like having your arms there, you don't have to, right? Your arms don't have to be there. And that will even give you some neck strengthening if you don't use the arms. Okay. So finding a place where you can be done with that when you're ready. And now we'll place the roll on the neck. So now I'm using it like a pillow. And so again, if you're somebody watching it on the video and you don't have a foam roller, you could do this with the block. I've done this with the block a lot with people, and I use that front edge of the block to massage my neck like this. Okay, it could be on the low or medium height. And on the roller, same thing. First, I'm just settling in, taking a few breaths. And my shoulders relax, noticing how my upper back feels. And then I'm gently going to turn my head side to side slowly, letting that jaw stay at ease if that's possible. And then some of those tight spots toward the top of my neck and the muscles along the sides of my spine. And you can explore with, what part of your neck you're on. And just keep your breath going. Okay. And then as you're ready, we'll take the roll away, leave it really close. We're going to use it again. And just come down for a moment into constructive rest pose. Feel your upper back on the floor. Notice your two shoulder blades. And notice how they feel side to side. So I don't know about you, but mine feel different right to left. Just the contact they're making with the floor. Yours might feel the same, they might feel different. As you take a wide breath and feel that in that whole thoracic spine area, notice how your breath feels. how it expands in your upper back. Okay, now the next place we're going to place the roller is, and you can use a low block for this or a rolled up blanket, is supported bridge pose. So you come into bridge pose and then you slide your block, your roller or your rolled up blanket below your sacrum. So not below your lumbar spine, but actually just depending on the shape of your body, it might be at the very top of your butt or on it, just depending on how the muscles are back there. And if it feels too high for you, feel free to use something lower. Okay. And sometimes I like to just roll. I'm just going about an inch up and down. So I'm not going onto my lumbar spine right now. And then I'm also going to kind of little mini windshield wiper with the knees. So they're just gently swinging side to side. So I'm massaging around the sacrum area, lots of attachments in there. And then let's bring the right knee in, and we'll hold behind the leg if you can reach. You could also use like a scarf or strap. And I'm just going to inhale, take the leg up, straightening it. Now you can straighten and bend it a few times, kind of warming it up, or you might want to leave it straight. Eventually you could leave it straight and roll your ankle. And then roll it the other way. Good, and then let's bend that knee and place that foot down. Take an inhale. And then exhale, let's bring the left knee in, same thing on this side. Good, and then bringing that leg down. We'll go back to bringing the right knee in, and you can hold the knee. Now, if you feel okay to do so, I'm going to take my left leg up toward the ceiling. Now, I know you're on a rolling object if you're using a roller. If you feel safer on the block, you can use that. What I'm going to do here is, so I've got the leg up, right? That'll be your inhale. Now, exhaling, I'm going to slowly start to lower the leg. I think we even did this last week, but with the block. I'm only going to take it down as far as I can while keeping that moving leg straight. And then I'm going to inhale, bring it back up again. And then exhale, lower. And you might notice a little hip click as you're lowering. Just see about engaging your core. As long as that click isn't hurting, it's okay. You might angle the leg a different direction. I like to flex the ankle on the way down. Dorsiflexion. Now the next time you go down, let's leave the leg down. So it might be floating off the floor or the heel might be down. Let's try to get the leg totally straight. Really reach through that ankle. And with your right knee, you could keep it as it is, or you could move it a little out to the side or another place. Feeling perhaps a stretch in the front of the left hip somewhere. Keep breathing. Okay, then slowly letting that left knee bend again and place the left foot on the floor, releasing the right knee, right foot to the floor. Taking an inhale. And then exhale, let's bring the left knee in and can hold the knee if you can. And now with the right leg, see if you can bring that leg up toward the ceiling. Good, and we'll start moving when you're ready. So we'll exhale, taking the right leg down just as far as you can with it straight. And you might inhale, pointing the ankle, bringing it up, and repeat. Noticing how the hip feels on this side might be a different experience. And then we'll leave the leg down just as far as you can keep the leg straight. Notice what the stretch or the experience is on this side. Again, you could always vary the angle of either knee or leg. You might just hold it with your left hand if you want to. Good, and then slowly bending the right knee, placing the foot down, and then releasing the left leg down as well. You can readjust if you need. And now I'm going to have that roll a little closer to my tailbone, and I'm going to bring both feet off the floor and let them fall with gravity, or let the thighs and knees fall with gravity toward my chest. So it's like an upside down child's pose. And in order to have that happen, for them to be able to fall with gravity, the roller and or block, you can also do this with a block, is closer to your tailbone. And then my arms are just at my sides on the floor. And you can imagine that your low back is kind of draping toward the floor like a hammock would. And take a couple breaths there. And you might even take both legs. You might have to adjust where the roller is. I kind of had to scoot it a little away from my tailbone, closer to my sacrum again, and take both legs up toward the ceiling. You might even open the legs into a V. And you can play around a little bit, right? So it can be fun to take the legs even into like a butterfly pose, feet touching, just explore. Do whatever you want here. I like to do kind of almost a modified plow pose, like it's like a forward fold. I've got the legs falling, both legs straight and falling toward my chest or my head. Right, so feel free to just explore. You can also stay in that child's pose, upside down child's pose. And when you're ready to, you could ground the feet again. You can also play around longer if you want to. And the next thing we'll do is we'll be removing the roller and coming back down to the ground. And we'll take our windshield wipers whenever you get there. Spreading the arms, taking the feet a little wider, knees flop side to side. Okay, we're going to do one more thing with the roller. So, well, at least one, but I'm going to roll to the side and press up. I'm going to put this roller. Now, I find that this is a little tricky for people sometimes. So you could also do this with your taquito blanket. And I recommend watching me do it for a moment, and then you'll have time to do it on your own. So I'm going to make a big starfish with my body. And this is where, see how my head just hangs back like this? And it actually, whoops, I got a little hip cramp. My head feels fine. My neck feels fine doing this, but say yours doesn't, then using the rolled up blanket might feel a little better, or you can also use nothing. Like just instead make this position with your body on the floor with nothing below you. Okay, that's the recommendation I would make if your neck doesn't feel good here. Okay, so really tune in and notice. So without it, it would be like this, right? It would just be this giant X on the floor. Okay, so you decide. Regardless, the motion will be the same, and you'll see if you are using the roller, my arms are above it. What I'm going to do is begin, you can watch me first. I'm going to begin with my left arm, and it's going to come across toward my right arm. And in order to match with my right hand, I'm going to have to kick a little bit into that right foot. And then you'll see I come onto kind of my side. I get this little massage. If I'm using the roller, I'll get a little massage. Now to come back, I'll start with my left ankle. So watch my left ankle for a moment. I'm going to begin to turn. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I'm going to be able to turn it back over to the left. So I started with the ankle, and then the rest of my body follows because, of course, it's all connected. And then I come back to the starting starfish position. And it works on your back too without the roller. And now I'll begin with my right arm. And so my right arm comes across. And then I kind of have to kick into my right heel a little bit in order to keep going. And I can even slide pretty far, so I'm almost facing downward now. That's if you're using the roller, so it's massaging into my pec. And now I begin with my right ankle. I start to circle it back, my right foot, start to circle it back to the right, and then the rest of my body follows, and I come back to starfish. Okay, I'm going to show it without the roller now. I'm in starfish, and this might feel better to a lot of people. I'm going to start with the left arm, bring it across. It's trying to get all the way to the right hand, so I start to kick a little bit into that left heel, and then I'm draping over to my side, and to come back to starfish, I start to move that left ankle, rotate back onto my back. Keep going, okay? So now right arm begins. So the arm begins when you're coming from starfish, and the ankle begins it when you're coming from your side back to starfish. And I'm just keeping going so you can do a few of these. I really like the stretch I get when I roll around to my side. Even without the roller, I get it across the top of my opposite hip. Okay, so you can finish up whenever you're ready with that. After that, I'm just going into a knee squeeze. If you're still on the roller, you can remove it and come into a knee squeeze. Make circles on your low back. And then either rolling to your side and pressing up, or you can rock yourself up. We're going to come on to hands and knees. So work a little more with the hips. It's a really good thing to do for that hip trouble, or the hip cars that we'll do standing up, the controlled articular rotations. But we can do them here too. And if you can't put weight on your knees, you could do this standing with the hip hinge and your hands on the chair. Okay. What we're going to do is find this neutral tabletop. Inhale and protract the shoulder blades, spreading them. All right, press down through your fingers, exhale, engage the abdominals. And then we're going to be lifting one of your knees, doesn't matter which one, And you'll notice I'm not going to try to keep my hips square. So those aren't real controlled articular rotations. Instead, it's just a big hip circle. And I'm going to let my spine move. I'm going to let everything move. Okay. I'm not trying to stay stable. I'm actually, instead, let's make the game that you're trying to draw as big of a circle as you can with your knee. So up behind you, out to the side, even in, I haven't been coming in, but I'm going to come in toward my chest. I can't really go over to the opposite side very well, but I'll try it. And then reverse direction a few times. Good. And then let's take a break. Bring the knees down. On your wrists might be tired. You could always be on forearms. I'm going to spread the knees apart and sit back to a wide-kneed child's pose or balasana. I'm going to stretch my arms forward, but you can have your arms however you want. If you were not putting weight on your knees, you would be doing a chair down dog right now. All right, and we'll rise back up to our tabletop when you're ready and do the same thing on the other side. Protract the shoulder blades, feel a little core engagement, even though you'll probably lose that in a moment. That's okay. And then start drawing circles with the other hip and knee. I like to think of it with the knee because it gets people to make the movement bigger. Big circle with that knee. You can even come into a rounded position in the center. Several in one direction and then several in the opposite direction. Good. And this time when we come out of it, let's come down into Sphinx pose. So just lower yourself down to your belly as you're ready to. And your elbows could be wide, you could be lower like this, or you could be with elbows below shoulders. Pressing pubic bone down and just let's stretch the chest forward. Do what feels best with your neck and breathe. Good. And now when you're ready to, let's do a forearm plank. Now you know you could come up to your knees first if that works better in your body. I'm going to come into it straight from here by beginning to engage my abdominals and tuck my tail and press the floor away with my elbows. So I might stay on my knees looking down between my wrists, or I might tuck my toes and rise up. Tuck that tail, engage the glutes, press the floor away. And then a little isometric contraction like you're trying to slide your elbows back toward your waist. Good, and now you can drop those knees down. I'm going to move through a floor downward dog and then come up to standing. If you just want to do a bear get up and come to standing, you can do that too. I just feel like this would feel very good in my body right now. So you can decide if you want to do that or even use your chair for a chair down dog. And then slowly coming up as you're ready. When you get onto your feet, just reaching the arms up, taking an inhale, and exhale, arms out and down. Good, and again, let's do it 2 more times. All right, and shake it out a little bit. We're going to need something to hold on to for balance support. Use a piece of furniture or your chair. All right, feet parallel. Let's just do a few rocks on the ankles. Inhale up, exhale, rock back. You could also, for this one, could have it in front of you. Let's make our objective of this part of the game, we'll call these little things games, of this movement is to get as much plantar flexion. That means as high as you can. Of course, I'm also getting toe extension, which might be hard, and as much dorsiflexion as you can. That's this one where you rock to the heels, but without, doing a bunch of this or without leaning in. All right, so trying to stay upright. Okay, and now grounding your feet, wiggle around a little bit, loosen things up. All right, and now we'll do some of those controlled articular rotations of the hip. Okay, so I'm going to inhale, stand tall. Exhale, your outer leg, knee is going to come up. Keep breathing. And so this is not real, it's a balance exercise, of course, a bit, but that's not what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the hips. So go ahead and hold on without leaning, right? And in this one, we are going to try to just be moving or mostly moving just the hip. And we'll take it out to the side without turning, without leaning over. Good. We're going to keep it out to the side, keep breathing. And now we'll internally rotate the hips. So we're going to turn it so the inner knee faces the floor. You might find you have to lower it way down in order to stay upright. Okay, good. And now we'll exhale. We're going to take it behind, and I'm going to turn my body so you can see that my knee is trying to go back, but I'm not hinging forward. I'm trying not to even arch my back too much. I'm just trying to keep neutral here. Okay, so ribs are down. Keep breathing. Oops, there it is. And then we're going to come back forward and up. How high can you take it up without disrupting everything else? And then step down. We're going to use the other leg, and we'll come back to that first one. Take a breath in and a breath out. Okay, and standing tall, inhale. Exhale, outer knee comes up. Okay, so the idea here is building strength and mobility, going slowly and paying attention. Okay, and then out to the side, controlled movement. Good. Keep breathing. Again, not trying to balance here. And then knee turns down. Good. And then knee goes back. So you're in hip extension. And then bringing it forward and up. And down. Good. Before we go to the other side, let's do some hula hoops. So rotating those hips around, letting hip hinge happen, letting everything happen here. Anything that wants to happen. And then reversing. All right. We're going to go back to the first side and just reverse the order. We'll still bring the knee forward and up, but then we'll take it back first. Okay. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, outer leg up. Inhale. Exhale, taking it straight back first. Remember, trying not to lean forward. Good. And now when it goes out to the side, it's going to be in that internal rotation. Okay. Good. And then staying out to the side, but now the sole of the foot faces the floor, inner knee forward. Good. Keep breathing and then bringing it forward. It might be able to go up a little higher and then down. Good. All right. Second side, same thing. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, knee up. Inhale. Exhale, taking it back. Inhale. Exhale out to the side. Inner knee faces floor. Inhale. Keeping it out to the side. Exhale. Externally rotate it. Exhale forward. And down. This time, let's side bend. Feet are forward. And just a little lean. Go as slowly as you want to. Really feeling into it. You know, how far does your body want to lean? Your spine, your neck. Where do you feel it? And can you stay connected to your feet on the floor? Can you feel that groundedness as you move? I'm going to do one more. And coming back to the center, let's wiggle the feet on in. And just have the feet parallel. Feel like you're spreading across your collarbones, arms down, top of head reaching high. Without any tension in your neck or your jaw. And wiggle your toes a little bit. All right, we're going to come back to the roller. But we're going to take the back of your chair in front of it. I don't know if this is going to be possible, but we're just going to see. Well, this part will be possible. Let's just do this part. My roller is pretty tall. So now I've just got my foot, I'm trying to face it straight up. You know, not like a duck foot out to the side, but straight up. I'm just feeling a little calf stretch there. And dorsiflexion, my heel's on the ground, I'm breathing. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm sort of, as you can see, I'm kind of leaning in and coming out of it a little bit. I like doing this with the rolled up mat where we lift heels and lower down, but I'm not going to have you do that now just in interest of time. We typically roll up our mat and then we do those heel lifts, calf raises like that. It strengthens the feet. Good. And then can you do both? Just see how that feels. So my toes are up and then a bit of dorsiflexion. I'm holding the back of my chair to keep myself upright. Keep going with that. I just want to show you guys what my kids do on these rollers, where they used to. I don't even know if I can do it. They used to walk around the house rolling this thing on the roller. I don't think I can do it, or you guys will see me get a concussion. I'll flip back and hit my head on the wall. Ooh, yeah, kind of like that, right? They would walk around. That'd be really good for your balance, but don't hurt yourself. Okay. But even trying, I mean, I guess what you could do, what I would feel safe, especially with you guys here live doing, is kind of holding on to a wall or furniture, and you just get your arches up here and you just kind of roll them out. And that works with your balance a little bit too. It gives your proprioception, your proprioceptors a little game to play. That you're holding on, you're not trying to go anywhere, right? All I'm doing is slightly shifting my weight back and forth. And the chair, and I'm short, but the chair feels low. So I would feel even better doing this probably with something a little taller if I were concerned about falling. Okay, good. So fun with rollers today. There's so many fun things to do with them. And those are all my favorites, what I just showed you. Of course, I like rolling out my legs and different things too, but those are my faves. Okay, so coming down, before we come all the way down and do some more resting, you can get your roller out of the way. we won't use it again unless you want to use it to rest. But we're going to come in a little more for that hip action, because and I get some hip issues, is I've just got this on the side of me. You don't necessarily have to have it there for balance support. And I'm coming into a crescent lunge. So a crescent lunge in yoga is this lunge where the heel is up in the back. So it's not a warrior one. Heel is up. The front knee is over the front ankle. And then the variation we're going to do is to bend the back knee to get into here a little bit. Okay. So we bend the back knee, the tail comes forward, and the rest of me is still upright. Okay. And your other hand can be on furniture. I'm going to take my outside arm up, inhaling. I'm just going to exhale and lean toward that front leg side. And I'm still tucking my tail, so I'm trying to lift my pubic bone a little bit so I get more into here. Keep breathing. And then when you're ready to just inhale up, and we're going to drive this back leg forward. So you can still be holding on. All I'm going to do is I'm going to drive it up. Maybe I can balance. So there's a pose called Utthita Padahastasana, which is like upward hand to big toe pose, or hand to foot, something. I'm losing my Sanskrit. But so this is a variation of it with a bent knee. You know, instead of having this leg straight and I'm not holding it, you could hold your knee, and you might be able to hold it just with the outside hand. If you wanted to, if you're somebody that wants to do that, you can do that too. You can even use a strap. Whew. I actually love this pose. It can also be bent. See this? So I could be holding on to the wall of furniture, and I don't even have to straighten it all the way. I could just like be working toward it. But you know what I am going to try to do is straighten my bottom leg. So that leg's going to try to be straight. And I'm engaging this a lot. Okay? So those are some fun poses to work on, both for balance, hips, and mobility. Hip strength, hip mobility. All right, let's do the other side. Okay, so now that you know where we're going, just get yourself with the furniture or the wall space you need. So now we got the other leg forward. Other leg back, crescent lunge, of which I am forgetting the Sanskrit right now. Okay, so I'm starting here. I like this pose too, with the back leg straight. And then I'm going to bend the back knee, lift the pubic bone a bit, feel that. Breathe. And then I'm going to take my outside arm up, and I'm just going to lean toward the side, toward the front leg side, and breathe. And then when you're ready to, you can come back up to the center. We're going to drive that leg up if you can, or you can hold on and just going to drive it up. You can try to balance if you want, or you can still be holding on more. They'll still be balanced, right? Now you can take any variation. You might hold the knee with your opposite, with the same side, same side hand. You can hold under or over the knee. You might try to reach for the foot without getting all bound up like this, trying to stay upright. You can even use a strap on the foot. And I really try to straighten the bottom leg. I might even try to straighten the top leg if I can, a little or a lot. Get your gaze. They use the word gaze, G-A-Z-E, like it's called the drishti, which I'm not pronouncing it that well, but looking in one spot to focus the mind and the balance. And then when you're ready to, just stepping down. Shake out the legs a little bit, shake out your body. Let's go down and rest, okay? So we're gonna come down to the floor. I'm gonna come down through movement. So I'm going to inhale to take the arms up, and then exhale to fold. You could fold to a chair or the floor. I'm going to inhale to reach my spine forward, and then exhale, I'm just going to bend my knees, take them down, and come onto my back using any props, right? You could put legs over a chair, you could use bolsters, blankets, whatever you'd like. And if there's another movement your body would like, feel free to do that as well. If you're not quite ready to rest. So I'm doing Shavasana, which means corpse pose. And this is this laid out pose like this. And the idea here is not to check out like a corpse, but instead to practice letting go like a corpse. Letting go of effort, letting go of tension, letting go of control. Letting go of breath control. You might take a sigh or two and notice. Let's stay checked in and notice how the upper back feels on the floor like we did earlier. Shoulder blades. Noticing if it feels different. And noticing the whole front side of your body. And the back side of your body. And the right side of your body, as if you were divided right down your midline. And then the left side. And now the top half, waist all the way up to your head and your arms. And now the bottom half, from hips to toes. And now your whole body, head to toes to fingers. Can you inhabit your whole body with your attention? And letting go completely, just doing nothing at all, not trying to do anything.